Disasters are expensive, costing life and property and a great deal of money for cleanup and repairs. For Jamaica, our small size, location and topography means that the country is especially vulnerable to earthquakes, hurricanes and floods. While it's difficult to prevent these devastating events, there are things that can be done to reduce the damage. The Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project DVRP, funded by the World Bank and implemented by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, aims to strengthen the country's ability to withstand and recover from natural disasters.
It's a project that's going to be focused on physical infrastructure investments, equipping and institutional strengthening of the relevant government agencies that are normally tasked to do this work. I'm talking about ODPEM, I'm talking about the Ministry of Local Government, through the Fire Brigade, through NEPA, through the National Works Agency, the Earthquake Unit at the University of the West Indies. These are normally the agencies that have to respond when natural disaster strikes.
Fire services are most critical in protecting life and property from not only fires but also other natural disasters. Under the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project DVRP, over 140,000 persons within the parishes of St. Mary, St. James and St. Thomas will benefit from 3 new fire stations that will be constructed and provided with rescue equipment to include protective gears and extrication tools.
Well, I'll feel a little more secure going away, know that I have fire service right next to me and they will be better able to respond to the event of a fire.
This new fire station means a lot to us. In that, it will give us peace of mind, knowing that we are in a more secure building so that we can serve our community members better.
Even though Jamaica has not experienced a major earthquake since 1907, every year the country experiences over 200 minor tremors, and the threat of major devastation is always looming. When it comes to preparing for an earthquake, data collection is important as this helps in understanding the risk associated with this event and will inform policy towards strengthening the country's resilience. Through the DVRP, assistance will be given to the University of the West Indies Mona Campus Earthquake Unit, which is responsible for monitoring the country's seismic activities. All their seismic stations will be upgraded.
There's a number of different pieces of equipment we can receive. The first one is a series of seismometers, and these are digital seismometers, and these are to basically fit out the remaining stations with digital seismometers. So we're going to end up with those 10 stations completely upgraded and then add an additional station to it, so an 11th station there. So we're moving from what we've got analog to digital. Additionally, we have a series of accelerometers. And the accelerometers do a different thing. The seismometers are there to record the earthquakes and they don't get triggered early on. The accelerometers are really there to tell us how the buildings shake. What is the severity of the shaking that goes on? And the importance of that is that a building will survive up to a certain amount of shaking and then it will collapse and then it will kill people. We obviously want to understand across Jamaica how the acceleration changes, how when you get an earthquake, the building shaking changes across the island.
In an effort to address Jamaica's limited human capacity in the field of seismology, the project will fund a junior research fellow who will read for a PhD degree in seismology over a 3-year period and upon completion will be employed as a seismologist in the unit. Floods have large social and economic consequences for communities and individuals. When there's a heavy downpour, which is not unusual for the island, the lives of residents in many communities are disrupted. The project will see major infrastructure work done in Old Harbour and along Port Royal Street to limit the effects of rising and rough waters.
The improvement works in Old Harbour will include the expansion and the improvement of the urban drainage and also bridges. Myton Gully, Church Pen, those areas in Old Harbour. and Big Pond.
Big Pond, whenever time it comes, I mean, no car can pass, flood out my house, wash our clothes, anything, you understand? So we'll be grateful for JSIF and everybody to come on, for coming on board to fix it.
When the pan come over, it's hamper even to school children them. It is so dangerous that it take life already. When JSIF and NWA are coming, come do this for me. Oh my God, just like that, we'd be so glad and happy.
Along Port Royal Street in Kingston, 2 kilometers of coastal revetments will be constructed and retrofitted. This will benefit the patrons and owners of the various business establishments located around this area, as well as users of the Norman Manley International Airport. And there's more.
There is also a very important, critical element of the DVRP, which is funding to support training on the building code. Jamaica is moving towards enacting a new code, and so it will be important that persons involved in the construction industry, the players in government, or professionals, engineers, architects, etc., are fully exposed and trained on this new building code, and the project will support that.
The total cost for the overall project is $42 million and is expected to be completed by 2022. The best time to prepare for a natural disaster is before it happens. Collecting information on disaster and risk reduction, constructing disaster-resilient buildings and structures will go a far way in limiting the cost of these natural hazards within Jamaica.